this subject is not new for India. We have a history of one nation, one election. What are the major barriers or difficulties you see politically and technically to accept this electoral system in India again? What is your view? What, according to the what are the main difficulties according to you before this new changes or new electoral reform?
You know, this subject has been flogged to death for the last 10 years. There is nothing, not one dimension which has not been brought out. There have been arguments for, there have been arguments against, and in writing, on TV channels, and it's become virtually a monotonous subject. But at the same time, the Prime Minister in the beginning itself has said that he expects a national debate on it and a consensus. So I'm glad that he encouraged debate all these years and did not thrust it on the nation, although he had the majority where he could have tried it. So that didn't happen. And as far as I'm concerned, I have been writing articles and have written and have discussed on various panels. There is no black or white here. There is a lot of gray area. There are pluses and minuses of the proposal,
Okay.
and which we have discussed in detail. But I would conclude by saying that Law Commission in 2018, headed by Justice B.S. Chauhan, while saying that well, it is desirable because that was the mandate given to him, but he said that the changes in 5 articles in the Constitution, which you pointed out, plus the 10th schedule, which also needs to be changed, and the changes in the Representation of People Act and parliamentary procedures, etc. And then he said that he cautioned about the possibility of this going into court and reminding us that federalism is the basic structure of the Constitution. I think we should take off from there. If the new Law Commission has found answers, which I'm sure it must have tried its best to do, so let us see what comes out. So the debate of for and against is now behind us. And now, what this committee of 8 people, led by ex-Rashtrapati Kovindji, we are watching with curiosity what solution they find.
Amitabh Tiwari, I just want to ask this question to you, and my question is that every time we see the advocates of one nation and one election, they say that the cost of election will be reduced once it is accepted, because every time we see every year election is getting costly. So do you really think that this is a valid reason for this electoral concept of one nation, one election, or there are some other difficulties regarding to the reducing the cost of elections?
I think cost, time, and energy has been given as one of the reasons by the advocates of one nation, one poll, and it's a valid argument. However, it is not the only argument for the one nation, one poll. I think for me, the biggest thing or advantage of a one nation, one poll is that this country is in a permanent electioneering mode. Now, how many days? So, in the span of 5 years, there are almost 30 elections, states and union territories, 30 elections.
Yes.
Now, in these 30 elections, whoever is the prime minister at that point of time, even if he or she spends all 2 to 3 days in campaigning, and I'm talking about a lower side number, then they are spending 90 days, 60 to 90 days in a 5-year tenure on election campaign. And I'm just talking about a prime minister. There are ministers, there are chief ministers, there are MLAs, there are MPs. That is a criminal wastage of a nation's resources. Correct? If this time is saved, they will devote this time towards the development of the nation or the respective states. So if one election takes place, at least 2 to 3 months of each of our constitutional heads will be saved. That's the biggest advantage of this. Now, what is the flip side? India still has a parallel economy, correct? So if elections are held together, then the amount of expenditure by parties in this 5 year cycle on state elections will also reduce, because now it will be combined. Not only perhaps the election commission may also save some money, but the political parties will also save money. However, India is a consumption based economy, correct? Spending drives growth. So if that money is not spent on events or rallies or even cash distribution, let's say, then it could impact growth a little bit also. So that is a flip side there. I mean, in my opinion. And when we are talking about one nation, one poll leading to a presidential form of government, so were we having a presidential form of government from 1952 to 1967? The answer is no. Correct. And the main objection of the opposition or regional parties, let's say, as you were saying, is that a one nation, one poll leads to a nationalization of the elections,
Yeah.
in which regional parties could lose out.
Yeah.
Now, in India, one nation, one poll or a simultaneous poll already takes place or took place in 5 states in 2014: Telangana, Andhra, Odisha, Sikkim, Arunachal.
Yeah.
In none of those states, BJP won either in Vidhan Sabha or in Lok Sabha in 2014. In 2019, again simultaneous poll took place in 4 states, except for Telangana. In all these states except Arunachal Pradesh, the party which wins the Vidhan Sabha election goes on to win the maximum seats in a Lok Sabha election. So that fear is unfounded. Actually, I would say that simultaneous polls is going to benefit regional parties, because in a simultaneous poll, most of the people, if you see the data of the votes polled by regional parties in Vidhan Sabha and Lok Sabha, it is identical. It is almost similar. And most people are going or have in the past pressed the same button in Vidhan Sabha and Lok Sabha elections. So it might actually, I could actually turn the argument around and say it's likely to benefit the regional parties. Whichever party is strong in that particular state is likely to benefit in a simultaneous election. And that is what happened in 1967 also, when the trend of the simultaneous poll broke. In 1967, for the first time, the Congress party did not win more than 350 seats. Its tally actually fell to 283 in the Lok Sabha. Why? Because in those simultaneous elections, it lost 8 of the 16 states, which was reflected in its Lok Sabha tally.
I would like to go to Ashwani Kumar Dubey. Ashwani Kumar Dubey, coming to the legal aspects of the entire exercise and entire consideration, we were just talking about Article 83, 85, 172, 174, 356. These are the articles where amendments are required. Do you think that this is going to take a lot for the government to make a consensus with the opposition? Do you think, and how it will be possible? Because we are going to see the 2024 election and then 2029. There is a timeline for this entire process of amendment. Do you think this will be a smooth, or this will be a challenging task for the next government, next party coming into the power?
So let's first discuss the constitutional powers and the powers which are lying with the parliament to amend the constitution. Very well, there is a Article 368 of the Constitution, which says that the Constitution can be amended by the majority of the members. Now, as you were saying very rightly, you have said that to bring into in a practical domain, there are certain key constitutional changes are required, like Article 83, which deals with the Lok Sabha term. Then Article 85 deals with the Lok Sabha dissolution. Then Article 175 deals that the state legislative assembly terms, and then Article 174 says that the state legislative assembly dissolution, and Article 356 president's rule. So there are certain amendments in addition to the constitutional amendments to the Representation of People Act and related parliamentary procedures is also required. Now there are two things. This is not that something has been come out of a all of a sudden. Till 1967, it was very successfully being practiced and elections were being held. So the three things which now, because a lot of water has flown under the bridge as of now, three things must be dealt when there is a constitutional amendment. If the government brings it and government is successively and successfully able to pass in the parliament, that how they will deal with the defections, how they will deal with the dismissals and dissolution of the government. Because as of now, we see that there are certain states where the election have just taken, like Himachal Pradesh and Karnataka. So how they will justify that? There are certain things. So now the election, the Law Commission of India, which is one of the constitutional body, is examining this issue. But as of now, see, if the nation is looking for a focused government, nation is looking for the continuity in the policy decisions, because people are fed up with the day-to-day elections. Every year, every month, 24/7, one to the other election is taking place. Lots of money, taxpayers' money is being wasted. So the decisions, the policy decisions are not being taken. And the second, so far as the developmental work is concerned, moment the model code of conduct is implemented, the Election Commission of India come into the picture and say that, look, you cannot take any, you cannot do Shilanyas and you cannot do the Aadhaar Shila, you cannot take any development work as of now, because it will polarize it. And this is violation to the model code of conduct. Mr. Ashwani Quraishi is there, he could enlighten us and throw light. But now, see, in Justice BP Jeevan Reddy's 170th report, if we see, which in 1999, which is one of the finest report, which says the cycle of elections every year is in the out of the season, should be put an end, and we must go back to the elections to the Lok Sabha and all the legislative assemblies were held. Amitabh Tiwari has rightly said that the 4 states election like Arunachal Pradesh, Odisha, Sikkim, and Andhra Pradesh are taking place. So now the time has come where the government, in consensus with all political parties, because we live in a democratic country, all political parties take them into a consensus and brings a positive change, and it starts doing it. There is no problem into it. But yes, one thing is the fear of the regional parties is that when the national election will take place, Lok Sabha elections will take place, their state level agenda will not be portrayed in the manner which they are portraying or practicing it. That is one of the reasons. But it has been happening in our country. In 1960, 1967, it was possible, it was happening. So there are certain changes which needs to be done. And if government comes with a strong willpower, by taking other political parties with them, that this is not impossible. And everyone in country, majority of the people want this. I'm telling you, this is required, not only for the saving the money, but also for the nation's growth it is needed. Yes,
but it's just not about saving money. It's also about the credibility of electoral process, about the smooth and credible functioning of our democracy. Do you think that will be a question if this concept is coming into existence? Do you think?
See, credibility the government is by propagating the development work. When political party wins the election, and when they take up their election manifesto or other development work, that credibility come into the picture. So in a parliamentary democracy, or in a democracy where there is a constitution is supreme and rule of law is supreme, and except, as has been said in the Keshwan and Bharti case, that except the basic structure of the constitution, you cannot change. So it is not the basic structure is being changed. It has happened in this country. This election process, this simultaneous, this one nation, one election has been practiced from independence till 1967. So there is nothing that it cannot be done. But only thing is, in a parliamentary form of government, by making constitutional amendment, they taking people on one table and by consensus, it is possible, and they can do it.